Welcome to Sunset Overdrive, the next title from Insomniac Games and an Xbox One exclusive. The game is an open-world action title set in Sunset City. FizzCo has just released their next energy drink called Overcharged Delirium XT, and they're throwing a huge party to celebrate. And therein lies the problem. It's turned everyone into mutants. I've never been a fan of describing games by using other games as an example, but that's what I'm going to start with anyway. Sunset Overdrive is a mixture of Crackdown's freedom of movement combined with Saints Row 3 and 4's over-the-top nature and story, with just a splash of grunge and grind of the Jet Set Radio series. Of course, the final piece of the puzzle is the Insomniac Games' own Ratchet & Clank series, which fits the bill for both the zany weapons and the rails-based gameplay you'll find buried within. Perhaps the thing I like best about Sunset Overdrive is its blatant self-awareness. Fail the tutorial early on, and the main character blames you for the reason a tutorial section even exists.
I didn't even have to check game facts.
There's constant callouts to cliches and gaming-like plot devices, interface markers, and of course the random voiceovers that help the player and tell them how to proceed.
Nice view. More importantly, I'm one step closer to a pointless achievement.
Sunset Overdrive knows it's a game, and the main character in the game knows it's in a game. It's pretty blatant, and it's funny. It's good to see the game able to kind of make fun of itself and gaming in general, as it's been for the past 10 or 15 years, and some things that have just become standard for reasons only that they were in other games. Your goal in Sunset Overdrive is to escape the city alive. Along the way, you're going to be meeting a crazy cast of characters that include a curmudgeon old man, a group of LARPers, a troop of scouts, and many others. Being on the ground is death in the game. You're going to constantly want to move, and the game is all about traversal. And traversal happens in a bunch of different ways. You can bounce on cars and umbrellas and vents to stay in the air. You can grind on rails and move on wires, and speed boost and dash in the air, and you can even walk on water. It's all about moving fast, moving smooth, moving with style. All along the way, there's a cool grunge, rockish soundtrack going on in the background. Just really cool. It's like parkour on crack. It's just totally over the top and crazy, and it's a lot of fun. While you're moving through the city, you're going to be finding a lot of collectibles to pick up and destroy. There's cell phones, security cameras, there's floating fizzy balloons, toilet paper, and smelly shoes. The last of those three items are actually really important because they're what drive your weapon upgrades and character upgrades called amps. Once you have the required number of those collectibles, you're going to start to brew in a survival-style mission called Night Defense. When the Night Defense mission takes place, you have to survive a certain amount of rounds in a tower defense, kind of like mini-game against hordes of the OD. And the OD are the bad guys you're going to face off against in the game, the mutated people within the town of Sunset City. And these amps that you earn from these Night Defense missions are really important because they upgrade your character, adding cool things like the ability to call lightning strikes or add flaming attacks to your melee abilities, and several other over-the-top upgrades that you can equip along the way. But it's also kind of frustrating because these collectibles, especially like the toilet paper and the shoes, are really tough to see within the city itself. So tying that with the upgrade system can be frustrating, but thankfully it's not required to beat the game. The game's not really overly difficult without it. Killing the OD in the game gives you cans of overcharged money, which can be used to purchase items from vendors, whether that's player customization or weapons and ammo. Player customization, there's a ton going on here. You can really make your character look any way you want, with tons of unlockables and things to find. And this was really evident for me when I played a full online match, and I just saw the good variety of player characters, both male and female models, in different themes and totally whacked out crazy styles. It's really over the top. In terms of weapons, there's lots of weapons to have. You can hold up to 8 at a time, and I think there's maybe about 15 available weapons within the game. All the weapons can be equipped and have levels, and can equip amps within them as well. I'm not going to spoil it because discovering some of the weapons and using them are one of the coolest things within the game itself. But we've seen the TN Teddy, which is a teddy bear strapped with dynamite that's really useful for crowd control. There's a flaming compensator, which is good for setting the OD on fire. each weapon kind of has its own purpose within the game, whether it's to attract OD to it by being laced with the Overcharged Delirium XT, or causing explosions, or just straight up like weapon damage like a pistol or an AK-47 or something like that. Of course, with those amps attached to it, you can make your weapon do whatever cool things you want. So while the story isn't co-op, there is a co-op mode, and it's called Chaos Squad. It can be accessed anytime from a phone booth. There's built-in matchmaking. You can start the matchmaking, keep going on your campaign. When a game's ready, you'll jump right in. What happens, you get in the match, and players get to vote between 2 mini-games. And each mini-game has a plus and a minus to it. Basically, it'll make it harder at the end for the night defense mission that everybody takes place in, or it'll add like bonuses for defense. But the harder the end mission is, the more points you're going to get. And the easier it is to complete the minigame, or the better you do in the minigame, you add multipliers to your final score as well. So it's kind of a risk-reward scenario. And there's a good variety of minigames. At least 10 or 15 that I've seen, depending on the area of the map you're in, and whether it's survival, or killing all the enemies, or kind of escort mini-missions, or killing with style, or speed things. There's a lot to do, and everyone kind of works together to do them. The chaos really ensues, though, in the night defense portion at the end of 5 mini-games. All the players work together, they set up their own traps, they have their own pool of resources, and they're fighting off wave after wave of the OD. It's absolutely nuts. There's so much going on the screen. It's so colorful, it's so explosive. And you know what? The Xbox One in the game, it doesn't slow down at all. I was really impressed with how well it handled it. And it's a ton of fun, especially with 8 people. You got to call out where to go. You got to take out the big guys. You got to take out the little guys. You got to protect the VATs. And then when it's all over, you're going to earn some goodies. Those goodies are weapon upgrades and player customizations, which you can take back into the single player, and of course bring into the co-op mode as well. There's a downside to the Chaos mode. It doesn't scale very well. Unfortunately, with three or 4 people, you're going to have a really hard time of completing a lot of the missions. With 8 people, it's actually a little bit easy. Insomniac says it's tuned for 6 to 8 players. Hopefully they'll maybe put some tweaking in there and scaling. For me, Sunset Overdrive is one of the few open world games that has been able to hold my attention for an extended period of time. Great writing, fun gameplay, and excellent controls add to the good variety of things to do and make this one of the most fun open world games I've seen since Crackdown. In many ways, the style feels right at home on the Xbox One as an exclusive because of that. The co-op mode's a nice distraction and a great way to earn upgrades and other goodies, though we still would have loved to see an option for co-op in the campaign. Still, like a can of Overcharged Delirium XXL, this game packs a lot of fun and silliness into a tight package, and I drank the entire thing.
Thank you for not making me start at the bottom.
Yeah.